Hey there, and welcome back. It's Kyle Hyde Club. This will be the MMA series episode number 3. Let's jump into it. This past weekend was UFC Fight Night 146 on ESPN Plus. The prelims and main card were both on ESPN Plus, which is pretty cool. In one place just to watch the fights. To start off the night, it was Alex White versus Dan Moret. Not sure how you say it, but Alex White got the decision. I don't remember too much from this fight because it was the first fight. From what I remember, the guy that won pretty much just, not that he dominated, like it was a decent fight to start out the night. And there was some exciting moments, but he definitely won the decision. So congrats to him. Next fight was a welterweight matchup between Alex Morano and Zach Otto. I've seen Zach Otto fight before, but not Morano. But supposedly in the past, Otto has called out Alex Morano, I guess on 2 separate occasions. For some reason, he wanted this fight. Maybe he saw something that he maybe saw a weakness he could exploit or something like that. But and I think Morano took it personally and was like, why does this guy keep wanting to fight me? Does he think he could beat me? And he went out there and dominated Otto from the beginning bell. Hit him with some pretty good punches. And then I believe he finished him on the ground, some ground and pound in the first round. Kid looked really good. Looked pretty dominant. How old is he? Let me check that up. Let me check that right quick. Is the website going to tell me? UFC website is like really fancy. They got some nice graphics and stuff, but they don't give you things you want to see. I just want to see this guy's the stats, bro. What's his baseball card stats? How old is this motherfucker? They're not going to tell me. They're going to make me just Google him. Okay, there he is. Oh, he's only he's 28, which isn't too young in the fight game, but he looked pretty good. I don't know if he's ready for top 15 yet in 170, because 170 is pretty stacked. Where Woodley was the champ and now Kamaru Usman's the champ. There's a lot of guys in that division. So I don't know if he's top 15 ready, but definitely somebody on the cusp of that who's also like kind of outside looking in. It'd be an interesting fight. I think he definitely has potential to be top 15 someday soon in the future. So he had a good performance. Next fight was between Luis Smolka and Matt Schnell. I actually bet a little money on Luis Smolka right before the fight started, just because he's a name and I seen him fight and this and that, and he was an underdog. I ended up losing. I didn't bet too much. Matt Schnell looked pretty good. He dominated him from the opening bell, pretty much. Hit him with some good straight punches. Straight to the face, rattled him, took him to the ground, got the submission. I don't remember what he got for the submission, but I do remember he pretty much dominated him. I was like, damn, that was throwing money down a black hole. Just for no reason. And I knew it as soon as they were walking out. I was like, oh, this guy's going to beat him. I don't know why, and most of the time I'm wrong, I feel like. But the times you're right. You remember the times you're right. But I was going to say, sometimes you can tell between the demeanor and when guys are walking up to the cage, if they're confident or not. And I don't know. Schnell just looked more confident, and he just looked like, the better fighter. And he was. So he won. The next fight was a pretty good fight, actually. It's between Maurice Green, and Jeff Hughes. So I guess these guys fought earlier in their careers. They might have fought twice. No, they fought once in a 5-round match, I think. And might have been for a title fight, but I don't know that for sure. But yeah, these two guys fought, and I believe Jeff Hughes won the first time, yeah. So Maurice was looking to revenge his loss. Maurice is like 7 foot tall. Maurice Green. I don't think he's really 7 feet tall, but that dude is pretty tall. Might be 6 something, I don't know. I'm about to check that real quick. But yeah, it was a good fight, back and forth. Honestly, I thought Jeff Hughes won definitely the 3rd round, and maybe you could have gave him, I don't know, I think he won the fight, but the judges ended up giving it to Maurice Green, so he avenged his previous loss, and yeah, good shit, dude. He's from Norfolk. Shout out to Norfolk, Virginia. He's 79 inches. What is that? I can't do fucking math. You made me do math, UFC. Come on. What the fuck? 79.00. The fuck is this? I know, 7 feet, or 6 feet is 72 inches. So he's 6'7". Okay, so he's not 7 foot, but still 6'7". What weight class are they in? Man, this website sucks. Y'all need a new web designer. Or just a fucking consultant guy can tell you, hey, this shit sucks. Navigation's terrible. I don't even know what I was looking for anymore, man. Oh, wait, heavyweight. Okay, at least 6'7" at heavyweight. That's what I was looking for, the fucking division. So I got sidetracked with this UFC website. It's fancy, like they made an update, but the information, navigation stuff is a little clunky, and yeah. And I work on computers, you know. Yeah, it looks cool, it looks fancy, but, you know, makes it a little harder on your end users. A little hard to find stuff, things like that, but fuck it. It was a good fight. Congrats to both of them. And I remember last MMA podcast I did a preview to this fight, and in the Google search for this fight, Maurice Green versus Jeff Hughes, they have a Asian UFC fighter. Their picture for Jeff Hughes is like picture where his picture's supposed to be. And they still have it. So I don't know. Maybe it's a conspiracy. I'm just kidding. It was a good fight. The next fight was between Grant Dawson and Julian Erosa, which ended up being a good fight. I think the announcers were saying that they thought Dawson would, you know, just grapple with Erosa, put him up against the cage, put him on the ground, put him on his back, and grind him out, and, you know, get him out of there pretty easily. I never saw Grant Dawson fight before, so I wasn't sure how accurate that would be, but that was essentially his game plan. He went after him, close distance, pressured him, put him up against the cage, put him on his back line. His takedowns were great. His pressure was just amazing. Julian Erosa, I've seen him fight on the Contender Series. I think it was the 2nd season. And I didn't know this, but he had been signed with the UFC before. Had a couple fights, like, I don't remember how many, but lost a couple fights. The UFC released him, and then so he just went right back to the regional circuit or, you know, wherever, and won 3 or more fights, got the call of the Contender Series, won that fight, I believe. I think he won a fight after that, and then maybe this is his second loss in a row. Let me check that. But I seen him fight before. He's a tall, lanky guy for featherweight, 145. Damn, yeah, he's tall and long as fuck for fucking featherweight. But yeah, he lost his last fight before this as well. There's Devontae Smith. Oh yeah, Smith fucked him up. Smith is nasty. Follow that dude on Instagram now, Twitter. But yeah, he didn't. Rosa didn't really establish his distance. Dawson was really good at pressuring him, and although he took him down a couple times, Rosa looked really good on his back. Showed some really good, just jiu-jitsu off his back, and got up a bunch of times, but then he got taken down again. He did stuff a couple takedowns here and there, but for the most part, Dawson led the dance. Rosa definitely landed some punches here and there, but I think Dawson won every round clearly. Congrats to him. He's a pretty good guy. 145. That's a pretty stacked division. It used to be where McGregor was at, but I guess now that's Holloway's division now, and he pretty much cleaned it out. There's still Aldo, Marlon Moraes, Renato Moicano. Well, lost to Moraes, I think. I would really like to see Moraes fight for that title, but Holloway's moving up to 55 for an interim belt. And coming up weeks or months. But I think Dawson might be ready for a top 15 guy. I think he definitely has a skill set. This guy is super young. If I can remember, he's like 23 or 22. We're going to start seeing more, kids and more athletes like this, I think, in the UFC, to where, they grew up and they saw UFC 1 or they watched it as a child, and so they elect to do that instead of football or, whatever, basketball or whatever. The guys that aren't as big, the guys that would do wrestling, and then you might do college wrestling, but, there's not really anything above that except Olympics, which is awesome, but you don't get paid as much. You can be a star from the UFC. A lot of people watch it. I mean, people watch wrestling too. But, I don't know, I think you'll start seeing more and more, fighters that grow up, doing this, and by the time they're ready for the octagon, the big show, this guy's 23, he's already had 2 fights in the UFC, and he looked really fucking good. So he'll definitely be a top 15 guy someday. I think someday pretty soon. 13-1. I think I literally just said that, but yeah. And who knows where Julian Juicy J goes from here, Erosa. He lost his last fight pretty devastatedly. And, although he lost this one, he showed some skill. He's just really long. I don't think he uses his distance as well as he should. Like, his hands are already down, always down. I don't know, I'm not going to critique the guy who kicked my ass, but I don't know. I think the UFC should keep him around. It seems like, he's a professional fighter. He might not ever make top 15 in that division, but he can, be like a testing, a veteran guy that just stays on the roster. He makes, a couple $100,000 and makes a nice living. If the guy's destroying people in the lower divisions, he has nowhere else to go. So, you just float around here, you can be testing a guy for testing out prospects coming up, or, he definitely has the build and I can tell he has skill, but I don't know if I'll ever make it to the tippy top. And neither will I. So, congrats to you for at least getting in a cage with another human being. I couldn't do that. So the next fight was an exciting fight. I was looking forward to this fight. It was Marianne Ranau versus Yana Kunitskaya. And it was a really good fight. I thought I think the crowd was booing, and some people were a little iffy about the decision. Kunitskaya won by decision. I believe 29-28 on 3 judge scorecards, which I think is accurate. I think she landed more, had a higher volume the first 2 rounds, so they definitely won. I think she got a couple takedowns as well. And then Ranau pretty much beat up Kunitskaya in the 3rd round. I think she broke her nose in the 2nd, or it might have been earlier, I don't know. And so Kunitskaya's face was just beaten up. You could tell she was hurt. And, not that she was hurt, but, to where it compromised her fighting. But she had taken a bunch of damage just to her face. She was beat up. But I think they made the right decision. It was an exciting fight. Congrats to both ladies. It was a great match. I look forward to both of them. Seeing them both in the cage. Now, what was that? That was at 135. So I know Kunitskaya fought Cyborg. I don't think it was her last fight. Okay, so she was 9, or now is 6. So she might be top 5 now, depending on how the other fights in the division shake out. But let me see your event results. She beat Lena Landsberg. Yeah, I watched that fight yesterday, actually. So she beat Lena Landsberg after she lost to Cyborg at 45. So who knows? Maybe one day she'll fight for the 135 title versus Amanda Nunes. I don't see anybody beating Amanda Nunes right now. But who knows? She might not even stick around that long. We'll see. But look forward to Ranau back in the cage. She's 40 years old, believe it or not. She looks amazing for 40 years old. And, I mean, yeah, she looked very skilled in there. And she lost her last fight to Kat Zingano, beat Sarah McMahon, won her fight before that. So she might still be top 10, might drop a little out, but she'll get another, top 15 opponent. And who knows? You win, you're back in that title chase. She put on a great performance. I don't think she should drop that much. Just if she had a little more volume in the first 2 rounds, she might have won the fight. Kunitskaya definitely had more volume in the first 2 rounds, but it wasn't any knockout punches or damaging punches. Where Ranau definitely had the more damaging punches, but it wasn't until later on. And that's just how the judging system goes, round judging scoring system, and that's how the way it is. So to finish out the prelims, the featured prelim fight was Rocco Martin versus Sergio Moraes. Anthony Rocco Martin. And, this was a great performance by Rocco. He ended up getting a decision at a 3-round bout. They basically just picked up Moraes, picked him apart. Lots of leg kicks, lots of long punches and things, keeping on the distance. Just kind of beat him up. It didn't really look like, Moraes was definitely frustrated in there. Maybe he wasn't prepared. Maybe, I don't want to say a guy's not prepared when he walks out of the octagon to face another human being in mutual combat, mutual hand-to-hand combat. It's basically agreeing to a duel, but without a gun. for money, which is kind of awesome. But also, yeah, I mean, he's awesome. But I don't know. He definitely looked frustrated. Maybe that was with Rocco. He was picking him apart, and he showed, pretty, at least an intelligence, fight IQ, and congrats to him. I watched his. He did a post interview on the ESPN Plus post fight show, and he's a funny dude. Good personality, and we'll see. That was 170, right? Yeah. I think he might be ready for top 15. He's not. I don't know. Welterweight's stacked, but he might be ready for a top 15 guy, or someone right outside of it. We'll see. So that finished up the prelims, and then rolling into the main card, it was Tim Boesch versus Omari Akhmedov. Akhmedov won the decision, 3-round decision. I think there was at least some controversy from the crowd. Did they give a by round statistic? Yeah, let's see that. Boesch had more strikes in the first, except Akhmedov had more significant strikes. Akhmedov definitely won the second round, had double significant strikes. And Boesch landed more in the third. Yeah, I don't know. Honestly, I'd have to watch the fight again. But just from the statistics alone, it looked like Boesch definitely won the third. And I think I remember him winning the third. And at the end of the fight, I was like, because I remember thinking, I don't like that they're booing. I don't like, period, when people boo. It's like, it's not the fighter's fault. So some judges fuck it up. But, you know what it is with this. Some fights are close, and some people see fights a different way. Some people just look at numbers. Some people determined by power. It's very subjective, and it's subjected to 3 guys or 3 ladies that don't really need to pass a test to have, a knowledge on the sport. They're just people. They're just judges. They're just judges from the commission. And who knows? I'm sure there's really good judges out there, but there's bad judges as well, obviously, because we can only notice the bad ones. But, yeah, it was a good fight all in all, and it could have gone either way in my eyes. So next fight was Beneil Dariush versus Drew Dober, and this was a very exciting fight. Give me a sec. Remember, this is still Kyle High Club, motherfuckers. But, yeah, this was an exciting fight. Drew Dober came out, looked pretty strong in the first round. Put a lot of good punches on Dariush. Had him wobbled. Had him close to finish. He got beat up a little bit in that first round. And then he ended up, I don't remember exactly how he ended up getting it on the ground. But he ended up getting in the ground, grinding Dober out, and getting the armbar submission. And it was cool how he explained it after, and I believe I think he was the one explaining it after. I don't think a commentator explained it, because Felder's more of a stand-up guy. Anik might know. I don't know, who knows? Felder's probably a black belt in jiu-jitsu, and I don't know it. Shows how much I know. But here goes my opinion anyway. Dariush explained it for sure on the post-fight show on ESPN Plus, the UFC post-fight show. And he had him, which looked like he was attempting a Kimura, but he said it was a Kimura lock, or it was kind of just a bait or a trick to where, and he said he heard the opponent, Drew Dober's corner, yelling, "Oh, he's going for Kimura, watch it." And he said, no, I'm not going for a Kimura. It's really a Kimura trap. That's what he said. And that, he's looking for an armbar or a choke after that. Once he moves to defend the Kimura, you really slide it into something else, depending on their movement. And that was really interesting to have him explain it in his words, because he has top of the notch food chain jiu-jitsu, and it was shown there, and it was beautiful. We got the submission with, was that 18 seconds left in the second round? It was pretty impressive. I guess supposedly he talked to Drew Dober after the fight, and he said as he was getting that armbar, he felt his elbow pop out 3 separate occasions. And he was like, okay, well, this guy's just crazy. Like, he doesn't care about his arm dislocating. But he also had him in a headlock or a triangle. He had him in the armbar triangle choke. So he said he ended up tapping because of the choke, actually, and not the armbar. So I guess technically he won by choke, a triangle choke. Either way, it's fucking nasty, and it was cool to hear him explain it in his words. A very elegant speaker too. Yeah, good fucking win. How active has he been? I feel like I haven't seen him fight in a while. I mean, I know his name, but I feel like he lost his last fight. He did, versus Alex Hernandez. He got beat up. And Durham, they don't have a result. That was back in March, so about a year layoff. I know he fought Moises in November, but before that got knocked out by Hernandez. So knows he should be competing for a top 15 spot for sure. He's not ranked right now, but he's definitely a top 15 guy on any given night. At lightweight stacked up 155, but he's definitely top 15. Next fight was heavyweight fight versus Blagoy Ivanov and Ben Rothwell. I think this one had a little controversy, at least in the eye of the crowd. I'm looking at the statistics, and honestly, myself, I thought Rothwell won the fight, but I'm definitely a little biased because I'm a Rothwell fan, and his stance and the way he was unorthodox and he was fighting, especially as a big man, it was just very entertaining to watch. So I definitely just felt like I gave the edge just because of that, and because he's American. The other guy's not. The other guy fought a very good fight, Blagoy Ivanov. Yep. Total strikes and everything looks pretty fucking even. I'm gonna go by round. So I think Rothwell was definitely more aggressive, and he was charging the whole time, while Ivanov was just kind of circling to his right. And as Rothwell would come in, he'd hit him with either that overhand right or a straight jab. And that was pretty much it. I mean, sufficient. First round, he had 19 total strikes to 9, so he definitely won the first round. Yeah, I think. Yeah. And the second round was even. So who knows? I think you should be able to give draws, man. And Rothwell won the third round, and I remember that. So, man, honestly, I think it should have been a draw. So, and I think there should be more draws. I don't think it should be a 10-point must scoring system, in my opinion. I'm no expert, but I'm a fan, and I think it's ridiculous. I don't know. I think it would be solved if you got rid of the 10-point must. So I think to start out every round, we can still have it round by rounds and everything, that scoring system. We can keep it 0 through 10, so it's not too different for the judges. Because the main thing we have to do is make sure the judges are fucking on board with it. And we have to simplify it for them so we get the decisions that we as fans and fight fans and people who actually follow the sport and know the sport think should happen. So we gotta dumb it down for these fucking judges that are screwing it up. And the system's it's not a good system as well. But, and I'm no expert, but I think at the beginning of every round, each fighter starts with 9 points. And in order to get that 10, you have to win the round. We can define it by the same rules right now, by what wins a round. And so if it's, for example, if it is the second round of the Blagoy Ivanov and Ben Rothwell fight, total strikes 29-28, total significant strikes 29-28. Guys were only throwing bombs, and they both landed bombs back and forth. They both had their moments. No one clearly won that round. It's you can't objectively say somebody won that round. It's really off personal opinion. It's like, hey, you can literally be like, what? I like that guy's tattoo, so I'm going to give him the round. They both landed the same percentages. So instead of just picking, flipping a coin of the tail or having some personal bias come in, we want to try to eliminate bias as much as possible. People are obviously biased, so judges will be biased. And so in order to prevent that, just give it 9-9. If you clearly can't tell that somebody won that round, 9-9. Keep it that way. I think you have to earn that 10th point. So then, I think Rothwell earned the third round, so he would get that round and be 10-9, and I think Ivanov would have earned the 10th point, so it would have been 19-9, and then it would have been a draw. And, draws suck, as people and as human beings, we want, if somebody's going to fight or partake in any course, especially if they're keeping score, you want to know who the winner or loser is. And, I don't, honestly here, I don't see a clear winner or loser. I really didn't. So that's why you say, I could see it could go in both ways. You literally can, and I think it should be a draw. And then you keep the same rules as far as the 10-8 rounds go. So if a guy wins a round, he's clearly won that round, so he's got the 10 points. All right, once he gets that 10 point, the next question is, did he dominate that round from beginning to end? Or, knock it down a couple times, so he definitely, he definitely won that bitch. So then you give him a 10-8 there. So he earned it, and then his opponent got fucked up, so then you drop opponent down to 8. You got dominated, so -1 point for you. That's how it is. You came in neutral, and you got dominated, so -1. And I think that would solve a lot. You'd have a shit ton more draws, but I think you'd have fighters going for it a little more as well. A lot of times people are like, all right, I got that first round in the bag because my opponent did nothing. It was a feel-me-out round from him. He's a slow starter. I threw 10 punches, I threw 20 punches, landed 10 of them. I won that round because he landed 1 punch. And it's fucking boring. You should have to win that round. I think fighters would be more active. We'd actually end up seeing more finishes, and they'd be more exciting for everybody. Because scoring system sucks. And I think that'd be the simplest way to fix it instead of being, and add maybe 2 more judges as well. So then we wouldn't have as many draws. Maybe. I don't know. Who knows? That's my take on that. I'm going to stop talking about it. Still got a couple more fights to go through. So the next fight was between Tim Means and Nico Price. And this was an exciting 1-round fight. And these guys traded back and forth. Honestly, Means was getting the best of Price. I'd say most of the fight, he just seemed like that savvy veteran in there like he is. He saw his distance a little better. Got some good kicks off. Definitely had Price hurt. I thought he had him stumbling, and he almost had him finished. And then Nico Price just connected with one great hook / uppercut straight to the jaw, and it dropped Means, and he finished him. It's the first time Means has ever been finished, I believe, or at least KO'd. And wow. And I have retweeted it several times on Twitter. It was crazy highlight, because he's getting pieced up, and then he even said in the post show, he felt his heel hit the cage, and he said, all right, here it goes, and he just threw a bomb. It landed perfectly, and it worked out. He got the finish. So good shit for him. I was hyped about that because I had a decent amount of money on it, and Price was the underdog. I thought smartly so. Means is a veteran, has the experience. He actually seemed longer and the bigger guy in there, and stronger as well, and actually seemed like the better fighter. He just seemed like the better fighter. But Price ended up connecting with one punch, and that's why it's a fight, and it's fucking awesome. Congrats to him. I think he got a performance bonus. I haven't really looked those up, but it was a good fight. Congrats to him. I don't know if he's top 15 yet, but he's definitely got potential. How old is he? Let's see. We'll see where Tim Means goes from here. He's 29. Yeah. He's had a hell of a career. I'm sure he'll keep fighting. Oh yeah, and he broke his leg, and I forgot he said it. I think an alert came out today. He needs surgery, so we'll have to get surgery and rehab all that. So it'll take a while. Who knows if we'll fight again? I'd love to watch him fight again. He's great to watch, and yeah, I think he should be. I don't know if he'll be a Hall of Famer, but he might be. Depends on who's running it when his career's done. But he's definitely recognized by UFC fans, so that's dope. The co-main event was between, I'm gonna butcher his name, Junior Dos Santos and Curtis Millender. Never seen Dos Santos fight. Junior Dos Santos. The dude's nasty, and they said before the fight, this is probably the best welterweight you never heard of, and I never heard of him, honestly, before this fight, and they were right. Dude's a beast. Millender's a beast. Didn't Millender fuck somebody up his last fight? But Dos Santos was ranked, I said he's 14th now, maybe they updated the rankings, but he was ranked 15th previously. Millender is 17-4. And yeah, he's fucked up. A couple guys coming in. He seemed probably like the better athlete. Maybe better on the feet. We didn't see too much, but Dos Santos took him to the ground, and he's a world-class jiu-jitsu expert, and submitted him pretty quickly. How did he submit him? I don't remember. I think he just choked him out. Yeah. I think he just got it back and choked him out. Rear naked choke. Not sure. I don't remember. But dude's a beast. He deserves somebody in that top 10, man. He really does at 170. I like to see him with, I don't know, somebody with, I'd like to see him versus a striker with good takedown defense. Wouldn't say a Robbie Lawler. I wouldn't feed him to the wolves like that. Like, damn. Okay, let's go to the rankings tab. Let me see who's at 170, top 50. Ooh, you know who I'd like to see him versus? I'd like to see Neil Magny. I don't know if his takedown defense isn't the best, but I could say Neil Magny, or have him fight Damian Maia. That'd be a cool fight. Who's is Damian Maia? Yeah, dude. We got above him Gunnar Nelson. He's about to fight Leon Edwards, who's also obviously in there. Masvidal is about to fight Till. Yeah, I'd say either Neil Magny or Damian Maia for Dos Santos would be a great fight. Robbie Lawler is there at 8 if they don't do the Askren fight. I feel like Lawler would probably fuck him up. And even Santiago Ponzinibbio, that's a big-ass dude. I feel like Santiago would probably mess him up. But if he doesn't have a fight, fight him. Or even RDA, Rafael Dos Anjos. Any of those guys. He definitely deserves it. He's had a long winning streak, and I think he's ready for those top dudes. He said he's ready, so we'll see. And then, last but definitely not least, the heavyweight fight, the main event, the headliner. Derrick the Black Beast Lewis and Junior Dos Santos. And honestly, this fight went exactly how I thought it would. Dos Santos just picked Lewis apart. He was just the more active, the more agile, just a more fluid fighter. Just overall. And, Lewis could knock anybody out in the world with one punch. He's a fucking powerhouse, huge dude. Cuts down to 265, so I think when he's in the cage, he's like 280. He's like NFL football player size. He's a little undersized probably for the NFL. But, he could pass for an NFL athlete. But Dos Santos is just more fluid on his feet, more fluid in his strikes, more fluid in his combinations. He throws a lot of 1-2s, a lot of combos. And, just picked him apart. He hit Dos Santos he hit Lewis with a beautiful spinning back kick straight to the gut. I'm not sure if it hit his liver or solar plexus or where, but it obviously affected Lewis right away. I don't know how he survived that first round, but he just gutted it out, no pun intended. And it didn't look like it bothered him too much in the second round, but it was definitely still hurting him, you could tell. He didn't really have the same steam on his punches, and he already looked gassed. He wasn't gassed like tired, but you could tell a piece had been taken out of him. And Dos Santos just ended up finishing it, and had a really good fucking fight. And dude deserves to be in the championship conversation, 100%. I'd love to see him fight DC. I think that'd be an amazing fight. And Dos Santos said this on the post-fight show, and he said, they're trying to wait for DC to fight Brock Lesnar, because they want to reward DC and get him this money, and so he can retire happily rich and fat and rich. But, just the fact that a guy that doesn't, hasn't fought. I mean, yes, Brock Lesnar has fought before, but he hasn't been training. Right now, I'm sure he's been training now, but he hasn't been in the ring there, man. There's guys that have been doing this for years, and he just gets to step in and fight for the title. And I don't think he's title worthy. He might not even be top 15. He's probably top 15. He could definitely take some of these guys down and just beat their face in. But he's not a top 5 dude. He's just not. I feel like if he was, they should feed him a top. If he really wants to fight and come back, he has to fight a top 15th ranked guy. Fight Blagoy-Ivanov, fight Arlovsky, Tai Tuivasa, Alexei Olenek, Justin Willis. Fight one of those guys, and then fight a top 5 guy, and then you can fight for the title. But he doesn't want to do that. It's It's all about the money. He's a brand name. Of course, if there's any Lesnar fight, people are going to pay for it because he's a WWE star. He's a little more than just a fighter. He's an entertainer, and yeah, that's how the cookie crumbles. Make money, you're going to get opportunities. But, so, I don't know. I'm just going to leave DC out of this and just pretend like he's not really the champ and the title's vacant. I mean, he is the champ, but he's not going to fight anybody to defend his belt. He's not going to defend it. He's just looking to fight Brock, and I don't think... I mean, he is the champ because he fucked up Stipe, but you gotta defend the belt, man. Honestly, I think Nagano is probably the first guy in line. Even though he'd probably just wrestle on the ground and beat him pretty well. But who knows? Yeah, I'd love to see JDS. He said he wants to be out there very quickly. He's got a daughter that's about to be born, though, so he's going to wait for that to be all settled. And dude, what an electrifying guy. He brings so much emotion to the fight game. A lot of passion, you can tell, and he just loves being there. He loves people. He loves being alive. Such a positive guy. I'm glad to see him back in, and he looks really fucking sharp, man. Honestly, I'd love to see a rematch between him and Stipe. If Stipe wants that belt, he wants to fight DC, he wants to get a rematch, but I don't think it's coming, buddy. And, either, Stipe could fight Francis again. It'd probably be a better move. It'd probably be a bigger fight, but JDS is there too. I mean, I'd love to see JDS versus all the top guys above him. I'd love to see him versus Kane, even though Kane just ripped his knee apart, so he'll be out for a little bit. Overeem is up there. I don't know what Overeem's doing. Is he signed to fight anybody? I don't know. Volkov versus Alexander Volkov, that'd be a good fight. Versus JDS. Derek Blades. I mean, just beat Derrick Lewis, who's the number 3 guy, so he's right there in the top contention. So, I mean, you gotta do something, man. Yeah, Overeem's not signed to do anything as of yet. But, yep, that was... JDS looked great. Back beast, got a little messed up. Hope he heals up a little bit and gets back out there and, don't stop posting those Instagram videos. They're fucking hilarious. And congrats on a decent night of fights. So what I'm going to do now, I'm actually going to take a break. I'm going to take a pause break after recapping that. It took 48 minutes, so pause this. I'll insert a little ad, so it's not at the beginning and annoying. It will just be in the middle, so you'll know when there's a break. And where's the separation point between the recap and the preview for this weekend's coming up fights, which is UFC Fight Night 147, I believe, also on ESPN Plus. Great. And the main event is Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. Co-main, Leon Edwards versus Gunnar Nelson, and then Volkan Ozdemir versus Dominic Reyes. Plus many more. I'll be back to talk about that in a little bit. And yeah. Peace. Have you ever thought about starting your own podcast? I know I did for several years before I actually started. I had so many questions. How do I record? Do I need a fancy microphone? Do I need expensive cameras? Do I need to hire somebody? Do I need editing software? Do I need a studio? Do I need a website to, distribute this? How do I pay for a website and hosting? How do I get people to listen? How do I make money? And I struggle with this, and this morning, all those questions are the reason why it took me forever to just start. And the awesome thing is that Anchor solves all these questions. They answer all these questions. It's a one-stop shop for recording, hosting, and distributing your podcast. Best of all, it's 100% free and ridiculously easy to use. It's ridiculous. And now, Anchor can match you with great sponsors who want to advertise in your podcast. That means you can get paid to podcast right away. In fact, that's what I'm doing right now by reading this ad. I'm just in my third episode in, and this is my first ad, and they're giving me $10 for this ad. It's only $10, but it's a start, and it'll lead to more. So if you always wanted to start a podcast and aim to make money doing it, go to anchor.fm/start. That's anchor.fm/start. In order to join me and the diverse community of podcasters already using Anchor. Can't wait to hear you. All right, welcome back. I will now preview the upcoming fights on Saturday, March 16th from the O2 Arena in London. Main event is Darren Till versus Jorge Masvidal. It was a good co-main event, good fight before the co-main event as well. Just first off, honestly, I don't know. It looks like most of the fighters on the undercards or the prelims. So I honestly will not talk about too much of these fights. And yeah, I'll just mention their names if I don't know them. If I do, I'll give a quick comment, what I think in that moment. But I will primarily, let me check the main card. I'll primarily focus on the top 3 fights of the night, the last 3 fights, just so you're aware. So let's get to it. First fight of the night is Mike Grundy versus Nad Narimani. I've never seen either of these guys fight before, never heard of them. Or they at least give me records. No, they don't want to do that. So yeah, that's the first fight of the night. Next fight after that is Molly McCann versus Priscilla Cachoeira, I'm guessing. 7-2 versus 8-1. I don't think I've seen either of them fight. I think I might have seen Molly McCann fight, but I don't remember. So good luck to both. The next fight of the night will be Danny Henry versus Dan Ainge. I've seen Dan Ainge fight. I've not seen Danny Henry fight, nor do I know who he is. So if Ainge ends up being an underdog, I'll probably end up putting some money on him, just because I know who he is. Nothing knocking against Danny Henry, but dude, what? This is 145 fight, and Danny Ainge is fucking 5'7", and Danny Henry's 6 foot. So you got a 5-inch height advantage, only 2-inch reach advantage, and 2-inch leg advantage. But that's something you should think about, and something I will think about before I place some money on that. Shit, if Danny Henry's the underdog, I might bet on him just cause he's tall. And he'll have an advantage that way. And it says he's from United Kingdom, so maybe he'll have a little extra juice fighting in London. We'll see, And I wasn't gonna look at any of these prelim fights as far as betting wise, but I've got myself curious now, so I'm gonna check. Just to check, and just hold on with me a second. And if you don't, whatever, fuck off then. Almost there. So Danny Henry's actually a plus 125 underdog, and Ainge is minus 145. I don't know if I'll scrap some money on that. I'll probably wait till right beforehand, around fight night, and see what the final line ends up being. So the next fight after that is Tom Breeze versus Ian Heinisch, I'm assuming. I know Tom Breeze. I've seen him fight a couple times, fought with him a couple times in the UFC 3 video game. Good fighter, as far as I know. I haven't seen Ian fight before, but I'm assuming he's no he's no scrub, obviously, because he's in the UFC, and because they're matching him up against Tom Breeze, who, is a veteran guy. He's been in here for a little bit. What's the odds on that? Breeze is 1-130 favorite. Ian's plus 110. It's pretty close there. Next fight after that, I've never seen either of these guys fight. We got a Romanian versus Russia, light heavyweight, both 6'1". Got Nicole Nagumareno, I think, and Saparbek Safarov. That's a cool name. Good luck to both gentlemen. I'm not going to give any input because I am unaware. You'd think if I'm doing an MMA podcast, I should do a little research, but fuck this motherfucker. It's still a Kyle High Club. So, we doing what I want to do. And just so you know, it's authentic, and I'm not doing whatever. Next fight after this will be a good fight. This will be the second to last fight on the prelims. I'll definitely be watching this one. Mark Diakise, I think. Or it's Mark Diakise versus Joe Duffy. It says they both lost their last fight. Mark Diakise is 12-3. Joe Duffy 16-3 from Ireland. Mark's from the Congo, both 5'10". It's a 155 fight. Same region. Let's see who they last fought. See, they both lost. I feel like they haven't fought in a little bit, but I could be wrong. Diakise last fought in July of last year, so a little less than a year, probably like 8 months or so. 3-round decision versus Paras. Never heard of him, and they lost to Dan Hooker before that. Hangman Hooker. What a crazy fight versus Edson Barboza. I actually saw that fight live between Edson Barboza and the Hangman. Dan Hooker. Barboza just ate him up with kicks to the body. He got the finish with the body kick. I think he might be the only person in the UFC, Barboza that is, that's got a stoppage by leg kick, body kick, and head kick. But yeah, I saw that live in Milwaukee. That was a fun night. Let's see, then Joe Duffy. He last fought James Vick. But he hasn't fought in a while, damn. November 4th of 2017. Sounds like 2 years. I mean, it's less than 2 years technically, but essentially 2 years. He hasn't fought a year and a half or so. He got knocked out by James Vick in the second round. And besides that, I think he's undefeated in the UFC. I know he lost versus Poirier. Yeah, besides lost to Poirier and Vick, he's undefeated in the UFC, which are two top 10 guys. So if Duffy can continue fighting, if he gets this win especially, might see a number by his name sooner than later. Same thing with Diakise. I don't think he's fought any big name guys or beat them. Neither has Duffy because he lost to the two big name guys. But this will be an exciting match. It's like a matchup for those guys right on the cusp of the top 15 range. Maybe not quite there, but they're definitely pretty close. So definitely look forward to that fight. As far as the prelims go, that's the one I'm most excited about. And to close out the prelims, we got Arnold Allen versus Jordan Rinaldi. I don't think I've seen either of these guys fight. Just because it's the featured prelim, I'll go ahead and look at their past fights and see if something triggers a bell. So Allen is 13-1 in his career. He's 3-0 in the UFC. And fought anybody I've heard of or but that's okay. Jordan Ronaldo's 14-6, and this at 155, so it's not as good of a record. He's 2-1 in the UFC. He fought Gregor Gillespie. And he fought Jason Knight. Jason Knight's a tough character. I'm pretty sure I probably watched that fight, but I don't remember it too much. But he ended up getting the decision. Win versus Jason Knight. Not top 15 guy, but definitely a UFC staple guy. Like, he has a career in the UFC. Probably could make more money elsewhere in a Bellator, maybe a one championship. But if you want to be the best of best, UFC is where it's at. And he lost to Gregor Gillespie, who, as I said earlier, is a monster. He deserves to be... I think he's had a number by his name last time when I looked. Let me check. Gillespie's ranking right here, right quick. Because Gillespie's a beast. Who did he last fight? Forget who he last fight, but we're about to find out. That's the beautiful thing of information at your fingertips, bitch. Oh yeah, I fucking fought Yancy Mierdos. And he fucked him up pretty good. So yeah, I think he deserves... Yeah, he's number 11 right now, so he definitely deserves a top 10 guy. But we'll see where he goes next. That'll be exciting. So that closes out the prelims. Ronaldo versus Arnold Allen. To start off the main card, got Jack Marshman versus John Phillips. I know I've heard Marshman's name before, I believe, but I can't remember any of his past fights. Yeah, I don't know any of the guys he's past fought, but this guy's had several fights in the UFC. 1, 2, 3, 4. He's had 5 fights now. Lost his last one. He fought Junior Dos Santos a while back. But we'll see how that one goes. I don't know John Phillips, so I don't really have too much of insight to give regarding that. Let's see. Before I go further, I just want to discuss the Diakite versus Joe Duffy line. So Joe Duffy's minus 185. Diakite is plus 160. I say that's probably accurate. I don't think I'll be putting money on that. I like Joe Duffy in that matchup, even though Mark Diakite, I hope I'm saying his name right, probably not, probably butchering it. I apologize. He's probably the better athlete, probably quicker, but I don't know, I think Duffy's scrappier and he'll get it done. And sorry for jumping back, but like I said before, I do what the fuck I want. Next fight after Marshman and Phillips to start off the main card is Danny Hot Chocolate Roberts and Claudio Hannibal Silva. Interesting nicknames. I like Hannibal more than Hot Chocolate, but to each their own. Roberts is 16-3 in his career. Claudio Silva is 11-1. I don't believe I've seen either of these guys fight before. I'm gonna check to see who they have fought in the past, because they gotta fight some decent guys if they're on a main card on ESPN Plus, or at least the UFC sees some potential in them. So another name stand out to me in Roberts' past, but he's had a decent amount of fights in the UFC, some wins and losses, but 6 fights now. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4-2 in the UFC. So I mean, the guy's here to stay. This guy Roberts he fought looks familiar, but he got the win over him, but I don't know. Then we got Claudio Silva. Let's check his past fights. He's got 3 fights in the UFC. Well, he beat Leon Edwards. That's by split decision. But that was back in, oh damn, this was all the way back in 2014. So that was a long time ago. His last fight was versus Talib, May 27th, 2018. So almost, what was that, 10 months since his last fight. So we'll see. This guy obviously has potential if he beat Leon Edwards. Leon Edwards is also on this card. I'll talk about later. He's fighting Gunnar Nelson. That'll be an exciting matchup. So, I mean, this guy Silva's got to be a real deal if he knocked off Leon Edwards. Maybe it was a bad decision. It was a split decision, but who knows. So, yeah, good shit on getting the main card fight. The next one after that is Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Quinones. And I believe I've seen Quinones fight before because he got that handlebar mustache and those tattoos. I think I've seen Nathaniel Wood fight before, but nothing's really triggering right off the bat. Oh, I kind of I remember, Nathaniel Wood last fought a guy named, what's his first name? It just says Ewell at UFC 232, so yeah, I'd definitely watch that fight. Andre Ewell, and he got him by submission in the third round. And I think he messed him up. Look at this. What? He landed 342 of 468 strikes, while his opponent landed 36. What the fuck? I think I remember he fucked him up. Knocked him down twice. I mean, nicknames for prospects, so this guy's got to be good. You know, they put him in the main card. And I remember Jose Quinones, his elite fighting style. And this man can fight, man. Even though it's literally been a year since his last fight, so maybe I'm bullshitting, but I'm not. He fought Ishihara. Forget his first name. Is it Deroto Ishihara, and he beat him. The round decision. From what I could tell from just looking at the stats real quickly, he handled him, at least for the stats, but Ishihara had 2 knockdowns, so who knows. I'd have to actually watch the fight again and actually recollect it, and I do not. But let's see what's the line. Quinones is a plus 265 underdog. Nathaniel Wood is minus 325. So yeah, a lot of people got a lot of eyes on this prospect, Nathaniel Wood, and he looks like a legit guy, from what I remember, and should be an exciting matchup before we get to the ranked fights for the night. I'm really looking forward to these 3 fights. Started off, we got Volkan No Time Ozdemir versus Dominic the Devastator Reyes. Volkan Ozdemir, remember, last fought Anthony Smith, who, of course, Anthony Smith just fought John Jones for the title. So essentially that fight was for a title shot. I believe Volkan was beating Anthony Smith, I think, all 3 rounds. And I would have, if I was a judge, I would have scored it in Volkan's favor. But Smith ended up grinding out. He had that lion heart and choked him out and get the finish and got propelled to the title shot. I believe Volkan probably would have had that shot if he had won. Definitely, because he was either 2 or 3 at the time. Now he's ranked 6th because of that loss, and now he's fighting a dangerous dude in Dominic Reyes, who's fucking undefeated in the octagon. Undefeated in his career, 9-0. Which isn't that many fights, but this dude's really athletic. He's tall, he's 6'4". At the light heavyweight division, that's pretty tall. That's about John Jones' size. He's got his length as well. A 2-inch reach advantage. I think Ozdemir will probably be the stronger guy. It might not be a bad idea to take him to the ground, but I don't know how good his ground is, or Reyes. And I believe Reyes he didn't play professional football, but he played in high school and college. He's an athlete. He's got 85% takedown defense. So I think this one will probably be fun on the feet, and these guys will be banging out. Ozmir's got some heavy punches. He's a strong dude. If he can get inside, he could probably finish him. If Reyes can keep it outside, use his athleticism, move around the cage, he can get the finish. I can see this one going either way. And damn, they got Reyes as a minus 265 favorite, with Volkan plus 225. And I'm kind of surprised by that. Although Reyes does seem a beast and he's an up-and-comer for sure. Who else has he fought in the past? Oh, fuck. He fought OSP. He beat OSP pretty good. He fought Jared Cannonier. It's pretty good. Beat him up, knocked him out in the first round. So, yeah, man, he fought OSP and beat him. I mean, OSP is former title contender. It still could be a title contender if he strings a couple wins together. So, I mean, Reyes is the real deal. But I think Volkan will be that first step into that next level. And if Volkan's ranked 8th. So if he wins, man, he's right in there he'll be in there both these guys will be in there for a title shot. Maybe not right away. Maybe they fight Anthony Smith and then go for the title shot, or one of those other guys in the top 5. But definitely, if either of these guys win a fight, they deserve definitely top 5, if not top 3, depending on how the schedule works out. So I look forward to that. Honestly, even though I think Reyes will probably win, and if you had to ask me who wins 50-50, I'd probably say Reyes. But I like plus 225 on Volkan Ozdemir. I mean, the guy's been there before. He's done it before. He knows what it takes. He's a strong dude. So, he can win. He definitely is a win. That's why it's a fight and not, I don't know, anything else. It's not like anything else in the world. So then we got the co-main event. I'm really excited for this fight. We got Leon Edwards, who's currently ranked 10th, and we got Gunnar Nelson, who's currently ranked 13th. I think both these guys are top 10 guys for sure. Especially Gunnar Nelson. He just hasn't fought in a while. He did last fight. God damn it, who did he just fight? He just choked out somebody pretty easily. Oh yeah, Charles Cowboy Oliveira. He beat him up pretty well. Before that, he had about a year layoff. So he fought Santiago Ponzinibbio. I'm guessing he got they're not telling me the decision for that round on the website for some reason. I'm guessing he got knocked out though, and that's why I took some time off, because Ponzinibbio is fucking scary. That man throws fucking sledgehammers. But we also got Leon Edwards, nickname Rocky. Didn't know that. He fought Cowboy, and he beat Cowboy. That was back in June of last year. Not too long ago, but definitely a little while. And Cowboy's looked way different since then, man. Cowboy's fought like 3 times. At least twice. And he's looked better than he ever has before. You know what? Let me check that out real quick. Man, they just need to give Cowboy that fucking Conor fight, man. Give him that fucking money fight. Anybody fucking deserves it. He does. Let's see. Okay, so he's fought twice since he lost to Ian Edwards. Ian Edwards, Jesus. I'm thinking of the comic Ian Edwards. It's a Leon Edwards. Definitely 2 different guys. Ian Edwards is not a fighter. Yeah, I'm super excited for this fight. Probably if not more excited than the main event. I mean, I'm pretty excited for the main event as well. But I guess I'm equally excited. 2 really good fights, and even the fight before this is really good. I look forward to it. Leon will have 3-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. But I think Gunnar will probably end up being the bigger and stronger guy in the cage, especially on the ground. He's got elite ground skills, elite jiu-jitsu, which you wouldn't think from a guy from Iceland would have elite jiu-jitsu. But it's the beauty of the game, beauty of the internet. It's been evolving and it's traveling around the entire planet. So I'll see. Gunner's not bad on his feet. But I think Leon Edwards will definitely have the advantage. He'll have the athleticism advantage. I'm not sure about speed advantage as far as straight up punch for punch goes, but he'll have, as I said, the athletic and probably the agile advantage. So his punches will appear more quicker because his movement will be more smooth and at least flow more naturally than with Gunnar Nelson. And I'm not saying his is bad. Like, Gunnar flows really well and striking's good, but I think Leon has an advantage there. But Gunnar hits hard. So this is an exciting fight. The line is Leon Edwards is minus 125, Gunnar Nelson plus 105. So kind of a pick me there. Now I don't know why, but Gunnar Nelson looked really good in this last fight versus Oliveira. He's a veteran guy. He's tough. I don't know, just that Icelandic, Irish roots. And that's where my ancestors kind of come from. So probably a little biased, but I think he'll end up getting the win. And so I'll probably bet a little money on him. And then we got the main event. What we're all here for is why it's in London. We got Darren Till, the star of the card, versus Jorge Masvidal. And Till, of course, last fought Woodley for the belt. And Woodley, dropped him with one punch and then, beat his face in for a little bit and rear naked choke him and got the finish in the second round, if I remember correctly. Masvidal had been out for a little while, but then he just recently fought somebody. I'm pretty sure picked him apart. Who was it? I didn't pick him apart. I thought he fought more recently than. So I stand corrected. Jorge Masvidal actually lost to Wonder Boy in his last fight in November. But that was November 7th. Or November 2017, so that's over 2 years ago. We've had 2 November. We've had 1 November since. So he had about a year and a couple months layoff. And before that, he also lost versus Damian Maia. But he beat Cowboy. So, Masvidal's no joke. He's quick. He's got quick hands. Nicknamed Game Bread. He's there to fight. He's there. Put it on you, and it'll be a good, exciting matchup. Especially since Masvidal's been out for some time. If he beats Till, just reject him right in the title contention. And now that Woodley has finally lost the belt to Usman, this is going to start to be an exciting time. It's awesome seeing champs going on a dominant run and just cleaning out the division. It's like, okay, he's the best, but it's even more exciting when who you think that dominant champ is and he's just going to beat everybody when they get beaten. Because then all that fresh young blood starts to come up and they're like, okay, everybody's human, and then we have all the fights in the world you can make, and there's so many possibilities. And sometimes, just for an example, like if we're talking about that same sort of scenario, like Ronda Rousey, she ran through everybody in her division, everybody in the women's bantamweight division at 135. Everyone thought she couldn't be beat. I thought that at the time. I even watched the Holly Holm fight live. Wasn't really too much of a fan. I just started picking it up, but I was like, we know Ronda's going to beat her face in. But I'd never seen Holly Holm fight before. If I saw Holly Holm fight before, I would have fucking known she was definitely going to win. But maybe not, too, because Ronda always just, threw girls to the ground and arm-barred him. But she didn't try to do that with Holm. But, yeah, back to the example. Rousey dominated division, but once she lost, at least as a fight fan, not maybe mainstream fans and the people that follow Ronda Rousey, trying to make millions of dollars off of her, make movies with her. Of course, they're bummed, and straight up just Ronda Rousey fans are bummed, because if the dominant champ loses, that kind of stops the train. It stops the hype train. It's like, oh, okay, they're not the dominant champ. They can be beat. They are human. And, I think it's nice to know that, but, people in business want something that's sustainable, and you can continually go to that fucking piggy bank and pull out some fucking money. But that's just not how fighting works. It's not how sports work. That's why I think it's beautiful, because that's an actual representation of life in the natural world and the natural order, instead of this manufactured business bullshit that people do. But yeah, it's super exciting, because, once Rousey lost, then Holm had the belt, and then she fought Miesha Tate. And Miesha Tate couldn't beat Ronda. She never won the belt. And Miesha beat fucking Holly Holm, who was the only person to ever beat Ronda at that point. And that fight was amazing. Choked out Holm unconscious in the last seconds. And then after that, Amanda Nunes came up, fought Miesha Tate. Amanda Nunes beat Miesha Tate. And then, she beat Ronda Rousey when she came back, beat her face in, beat her into retirement, beat her into fake wrestling. Made her realize, hey, the sport's evolved past you. If you can't fucking punch, you don't stand a chance. And now we know Amanda Nunes is probably the greatest women's fighter of all time. And if Ronda Rousey never got head kicked by Holly Holm, I think we'd probably end up finding out sooner or later, because Amanda Nunes probably would have been the next fight after Holm, because I think she was ranked 4th at the time. So we probably would have found out sooner or later, but yeah, I think it's an exciting time at 170 now that Woodley lost the belt. I was a fan of Woodley, and I didn't think he could be beat. And if we go to the preview of I think it was my first MMA podcast? I think I had a preview for UFC 236. Is that the last one that passed? Whichever one just passed. I think it's 235, actually. Yeah, 235. I said I didn't think Usman had a chance, really. I thought Woodley's wrestling was better. His stand-up was better. I thought everything was better, but this one proved me wrong, and now we got a lot of great fights at 170. And to start off, we got Till and Masvidal in this main event. Till wins, he's back in there and at a title shot versus Usman, probably after the Colby Covington fight, because supposedly I guess that's going to happen. And then if Masvidal wins, then he's right up there too. He's 11 right now, but if you rank the number 3 guy, you beat him, you got to at least be top 5, so he'd be in that title contention. So we got a bunch of interesting fights there, and I want to look at because I got some time. Yeah. This will be my longest episode yet. Oh, fuck it, though. I'm going to take a look at the rankings at 170 real quick. Now we got Usman, the champion. Woodley 1. Colby 2. Till 3. We got Wonderboy 4. Is Wonderboy scheduled to fight anybody as of now? I think he is, right? And I believe RDA is free for a fight. Santiago Ponzinibbio might be. So there's some good fights there, in case these guys win and don't get a shot right at the belt. Yeah, it doesn't look like. I don't know. But I'm excited for these fights. Yeah, I can't wait. I believe, how often do we have fights coming up? Is there one the week after as well? March 23rd? Yeah. Oh, yeah. Wonderboy's fighting Pettis. Literally the next week. And then the fucking weekend after, we got Barboza versus Gaethje. Oh my god, in Philly. I was almost gonna go to Philly and see that live, but I gotta do some other shit. About 2 weeks off, and then we got UFC 236. Got a card on 420. Got a card the weekend after that. Card weekend after that. Weekend after that. Man, there's fights like every weekend. I fucking love it. It's awesome. Definitely won't run out of shit to talk about. And we'll keep gaining knowledge. Hopefully I'll know more and more of the guys on the prelims. You know I will, because I intend to watch every single one of these fights. So I'm just trying to make money and have a good time. You know, I got time to celebrate every Saturday night and go out drinking. You know, that's for the birds. It's not fun. It's fun sometimes, but every weekend, come on. You know, stay home. Watch people beat the shit out of each other. But yeah, that'll be it for this episode. I'll wrap it up. Thanks for listening. Love you. Bye.